How you guys doing? Welcome to another Pay It Forward. I'm here with Nathan Wilcox. He works at QC Consulting. How you doing today, Nathan?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. So, Nathan, for our viewers out there, we would all love to hear, a little bit about you, military branch and all, and what you kind of did in the service.
Sure. So, 18 years old, I enlisted in the United States Army. I enlisted as a 68 whiskey, which is healthcare specialist, or most people know it as combat medic. I was stationed Fort Bragg in a line unit, 2325 for anyone in the 82nd. In 2017, I was deployed to Iraq. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the quick rundown of it all. After getting out, I was fortunate to be able to use my GI Bill and went to App State here in North Carolina. And after 3.5 years of college, earned a degree in finance and banking, and now I work for a consulting company here in Charlotte, North Carolina, QC Consulting.
To me, it sounds like you transitioned from military into something it must have been completely different as soon as you were transitioning. And it sounds like from that you had struggles, that there were some times that you might have struggled. If you don't mind, can you explain some of the struggles you kind of faced, as you were transitioning?
Sure. Yeah. I think obviously everyone's experience is a little bit different, but some of the bigger struggles that I noticed with other veterans, App State's a very, very big veteran-friendly school, and so I made a lot of friends with veterans through their Veterans Association. And something that kind of rang through was the difficulty of adjusting your mindset. It's something we were talking about is it's kind of go when you're in the military, right? It's, you're accomplishing task after task, very goal oriented. Well, then you get out and it's kind of a hurry up and wait. There's you can't really do college any faster than the amount of courses they'll let you take in a semester. And I would take some semesters 18 credit hours, which is quite a few classes. But it's not like you can get through college in a year if you want. I mean, you kind of have to just go at the pace that they set for you. So I think adjusting your mindset to it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So slow down, make sure you're taking it in and enjoying it for sure. The other thing I would say is just you're in school with a lot of individuals who are just graduating high school. That's the typical college student. And so you're going to have a lot of worldly experience that a lot of these other individuals you're in class with probably don't. And so I would say adjusting to interacting with individuals that don't have the same maybe worldly views that you do. And just remembering to always remain respectful. And while, you don't know everything, and so it's important to remain humble and listen and take in others' point of views. So yeah, I think those are two big struggles. And then also just, the normal dealing with maybe trauma that you have from the military or deployments or whatever it may be, and just dealing with that. I would say that, making sure that you're taking care of your mental health and physical health when you get out is really important. When you're in the Army, I know a lot of guys or gals that will, they won't go to sick call because they don't want to be, that person that's always on profile, which is fine. I was that way, but once you get out, that's the time to really take care of your physical and mental health. It really takes some time to sort through all your stuff.
I totally agree because mental and physical health are something that, like you said, while in the militaries, and something that I've noticed is one thing, if a veteran does regret, it's not going to medical, not getting treated or at least seen for some of the conditions that they might have thought were small then, but have become a really big problem now.
Right.
And I guess my next question would be to you, just to kind of squash the subject. to you, how important is it to, really mentally, you know, kind of how's a good way to say this? I mean, mentally, right? While you're in the service and you have this mindset, how important was it for you to have to kind of switch your mindset into now a whole completely different mindset? And I guess
Sure.
with that would be like, what was what was the hardest part in your transition for you?
Boy. Um, there there's a lot of things, and I think they kind of compound, right? But
Mhm.
for me personally, the biggest challenge was again back to that worldly view, that experience, right? And then you see uh, maybe some issues that others have that to me don't seem that big, but to them they're really large because in comparison to the other issues they've had, this might be the biggest one. And like I said, you got to remember a lot of these people that you're going to be in school with, or maybe working with, even might be younger, and this is the first time that they've been out on their own. um, Especially in a college setting, this is the first time they've probably not lived at home, right? And so some of the challenges that they're facing to them are very big challenges, right? Think back to when you possibly left for basic when you were 18, or the first time you left your house and were living on your own, right? That those are very stressful times, and so that's how that is for them. And the stressors that you're facing, while to you are a big deal, they rightfully, just keeping in mind that everyone's experience is different and being mindful and respectful of the others around you. And for me, that was something that I had to develop and learn, right? I had to realize, while to me those don't feel like big issues, to them it is, and I just need to be respectful and mindful of that. And then that, even moves into uh, once you move into the workforce, right? Something that uh, I've currently been facing is I understand that I have leadership abilities, and I've developed my leadership through the military, and after even. But the important thing to remember is there's hard skills that I don't have, and
Mhm.
so adjusting my expectations and realizing I need to develop some of these hard skills if I want to work my way into a leadership position or into a higher position in that field. And so that's another thing too, is just adjusting expectations. And something that helped me with that, for others out there, would be an internship while you're in college, or like you're doing. Just getting out there and getting some hands-on experience is one of the best things you can do. So I would recommend for anyone that's thinking about going to college or transitioning, go out there and shadow someone in a field that you're interested in. Get an internship, unpaid or paid, if you can. That helped me. I did an internship for SAS, and it was just a summer internship, but it really opened my eyes to the impact that you can have on a company, and setting my expectations moving forward into a professional career.
I definitely agree because while working for Seven Eagle, I've helped them and they've also helped me, come out of my shell a little bit. Normally I used to not like really want to get on live with people or be able to do like, you know, podcasts. But here I am now out of my shell, very comfortable. And it's just
Yeah,
something that, you kind of learn and develop as a person. So I definitely
yeah.
agree with you on that one. Um,
If you don't mind, I want to note something too that you said, which
mhm.
is you've helped them and they've helped you, which I
Uh-huh.
think is extremely important. And something I'd recommend during interviews, or just anything to do with another company, is make sure that you're able to offer them something, but that in return they can offer you something as well, whether that's professional growth, hard skills, whatever it may be. That's a transaction between the two of you. You need to offer them something, and they need to also bring something to the table to offer you.
Thank you so much. I wouldn't like that's some of the things that you don't really pay attention to because a lot of people
Right.
are just going for the job and they're just like, hey, I can offer you guys this. I can offer you guys this. I'm trying to sell myself to you guys so that way I can work for you guys and make myself
Yeah.
look good. But in return, there could be and there probably might be a few companies out there that are like, okay, cool, we'll take you. And then you end up working there and you're like, man, what are they giving me? They give me maybe a paycheck, but other than
Yep.
that, they don't really help me in any regards.
Yeah.
So, I guess my next question, for me would be probably like the sour topic, resumes, right?
Yeah.
So when it came to your resume, when it came to your resume, you know, how important was it for you to have a good resume? And I would say my next question to go along with that is, was there anything that either you've seen in resumes or that's in your resume that really like helps people stick out, during when a company's looking at a bunch of resumes and they're like, oh, okay, okay. Is there anything that really sticks out to you when it comes to resumes?
Well, I can only share personal experience
Mm-hmm.
through interviews and stuff, but personally, I've never had to look at others' resumes other than just helping friends out. But I will say, just job search wise, especially for individuals who are just getting out there, like I said, you may have leadership skills that you've developed from the Army, which is extremely valuable. Don't discredit that.
Mm-hmm.
But those hard skills you haven't developed yet. And so I would say it's kind of a numbers game. You can have probably the best resume out there, but especially with these companies that use a program to kind of sift through, you're likely not going to end up getting picked for most of the submissions you make. And so when I was searching, was submitting 3 to 5 a day
Mm-hmm.
for a few months, and most of those didn't even turn into interviews. The ones that did, then it's in your hands to do the best you can. And sometimes you're just not going to be a good fit. Kind of like I was talking about earlier, making sure that the company is a good fit for you and that you're a good company for, excuse me, the company's a good fit for you and you're a good fit for the company. You also don't want to be in a position that if you're not a good fit for them, right? Because that doesn't look good on you. And so, like I said, just making sure you're both good fits for one another. I would say, as far as recommendations on your resume, look over the job details before applying and include keywords that you see in the description in your resume. Every resume for every application should be different. You should not submit the same resume for different jobs. Even if it's the same job title, different company, there's going to be differences. And so just make sure that you're changing up your resume. I will say I have gotten job interviews that they said they hated my resume.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I got the interview was because of a letter of recommendation. So if you can get a letter of recommendation, that'll go a long way. And then I guess maybe the last thing just to touch on would be get input from the people you're interviewing with on your resume, right? That's extremely valuable. Hey, what didn't you like about this resume? If they tell you they don't like it, don't just take that as the answer. Make sure you know why, so that you can actually make changes to it. I think that's extremely valuable. And then even if you don't get a job, say you make it to the final round of an interview, again, ask, hey, what was it that you were looking for that I didn't have, or what was the reason that I lost out on this, right? And then find ways to, if it's hard skills. I had an interview with SAS that I made it to the final round, but didn't end up getting the job. And I just asked them, hey, why didn't I get the job? And they said, you didn't have the hard skills we were looking for. We were looking for someone with a degree that was more technical based. Okay. So, next time I go into an interview with that company, I'll make sure that I have more technical based skills.
I never really thought about it like that. I know we do, like, we've been learning in our internship the different types of resumes. You have your general, you have one that you're continuing to build, and then you have the one that's actually tailored to that workplace that you would like to be in. And I guess my next question would be, obviously you said you've seen a few of my lives, so
Yeah.
everybody has a different opinion on cover letters.
Yeah.
I would like to know, like, what's your opinion on cover letters? Do you think you need one? Do you think people don't need one? Do you think it's depending on what place?
Yeah. That's tough. The way I look at it is it can't hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst that could happen if you submit a cover letter and they didn't want one? They might look it over and toss it out and they just don't really care about it. But if you
Mm-hmm.
don't submit one and the company was looking for one, then No harm, no foul. That's how I would look at that. You know?
Because I know, like I said, in different interviews, they're like, you need a cover letter, and then
Yeah.
some people be like, you don't even need a cover letter. What is a cover letter?
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you on that. It doesn't hurt to have one just on standby at all
Yeah.
times.
I
Um,
personally,
mhm.
uh, like I said, it's a numbers game, and so I was submitting anything that would help me at least get my foot in the door for an interview. Great. I'm gonna put the time and effort into it.
I like that. That actually it makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
when I think about it. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Um, Another big question: your time frames, right? I know we kind of discussed this a little bit, but your time frames on going from hey, let's go, let's go, let's go to kind of mellowing out. I would ask, we kind of know a little bit about it, but how did you kind of like go from that to kind of mellowing yourself out a little bit? Was that
Yeah.
something that took, you know, I don't even ask this one, but is that something that took time? Did it take a lot of time? Did it take months, years, maybe? Or was it something
Yeah.
that you can kind of just held yourself back for like a week and then you're like, okay, I got it?
I would say that's still a challenge, right? I'm also a father of an 11-month-old, and so I'm a husband and a father, and that takes up every other bit of time outside of work. So my life is still very much go go go. But as far as career wise, I think setting priorities. The military is going to make you most likely very goal oriented. So
Mhm.
something that I do is um, I put my the things I need to get done at the beginning of the week, and then I'll add to that if things pop up. But making sure that I get through that list, and anything that I don't get through will be moved over to the top of the list for next week. At the end of every week, I also go through and write up an after action report, just kind of doing some self reflection on what I could have done better. Um, I think that kind of helps slow you down, and self reflection really helps with kind of dissecting uh, all of your strengths and weaknesses, which again I think helps slow you down because then you're going to be very methodical and thoughtful on how you approach things the next week. And yeah, I think that's something that I work on every day. You're never going to be perfect at it, right? There's always room for improvement, and so I would say just kind of implementing those types of strategies into your life are going to really help you slow down and think about what you're doing.
So to go with that, you said self-reflection and you said how like you kind of have sort of like a calendar, if you would say, of what you have to do. My next big question to you about that, and it kind of cuts through the middle of it, is after you transitioned out, obviously in the military, we work hours and you work long hours and you have a set time range with that as well. And you have set work things that you have to do, whether it's you have to paint this at this time and knock that out. So I guess my next question to you would be, this is something I struggle with too. When it comes to working, when do you normally like to go from the military to the workforce? When do you normally tell yourself, hey, it's okay to stop? Because you don't want to overwork yourself, or when you don't overwork yourself, you feel like you underworked, and if you underwork, you double back and try to overwork, and then when you overwork yourself, you might be like, man, that's one of the biggest things I struggle.
Yeah, no, I think I definitely struggling with that currently. As far as how to fix that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be very intentional with my time, right? So start work at 8 o'clock and work at 5 o'clock, making sure that all of that time is very structured and I'm hitting my milestones that I'm setting for myself on a day to day basis. And if I don't, it's really on my mind after I get off work, right? I'm still thinking about work. Oh, I needed to get this done. So I completely relate to you on that. It's tough because I don't necessarily have an answer for it, but I can say the things that I'm doing is just trying to be very intentional about how I spend my time during the hours that I have set aside for work. And if it doesn't get done, I'm not going to lie to you. There are times when I have to work longer and it has to get done. Right. Had a project recently where I had to work 12-hour days for, the entire week. And then also had to work a few hours on Saturday and Sunday because it had to get done before we went to testing with the customer. So sometimes that's just how it is. But like I said, be intentional with your time and hit the milestones that you set for yourself.
I like that because like I said, that is one of my biggest things right now is to slow down for one. And then it sucks that when you try to slow down, your next step is to stop working after you work for so long and stop, so I try to like write it down and try to write it out that, hey, it's okay, I can stop. I've done this many tasks. So my next question is kind of for any companies that kind of, would like a veteran. What do you think? And this can be personal experience as well. What do you think that, if you hire a veteran, what veterans can bring to the table toward a company?
Sure. Well, I think, working under pressure, I don't think any veteran is a stranger to working under pressure. Also, if you have hard stops or specific time frames that you have to get things done, I would say veterans are very goal oriented for the most part, and they're going to hit those milestones if you set them up for them. And leadership, I think, is the military does a really good job at promoting leadership. There's a really good structure. There's a great book on it too, Extreme Ownership. If you haven't read that, that's a great book on leadership written by 2 Navy SEALs. But yeah, I think you're going to get someone who's driven, and if you give them the chance and develop those hard skills, they would be a phenomenal leader amongst your ranks.
I definitely agree. I know I'm a hard charger.
Yeah.
And like I said, I can't stop working. And then real quick, we have a question in the comments. It's from Henry Joseph. He says, where do you work now and what do you currently do?
Yeah, so QC Consulting here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I am a consultant for Oracle HCM. So we help customers implement their human capital management, so their HR program, known as Oracle HCM.
Now, is that, you said HR? So hiring recruiter. Okay. I'm sorry, it took me a minute.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, time and labor, recruiting, all of that is done through Oracle, which is a program, and we configure and implement. There's some coding involved, that kind of thing.
That's amazing. Honestly, I feel like HR has developed so much from where it used to be till now. It's kind of unreal in a sense. At least HR, when I first joined and I was working at McDonald's before the military, it was way different than now. Now they're a little, I'd say they're more technical and a little bit more advanced as well, especially with LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then I do respect your time, Nathaniel, and I do thank you again. My final big question I ask everybody: any advice that you would like to give to any of our viewers watching now who are either veterans, or even if they're still in the service, or even if they're just companies looking for veterans?
Yeah, I would say for the veterans out there during your transition, like I said earlier, please take the time to work on your mental and physical health, and take it one day at a time. It's a difficult time in your life that you're going through, so don't feel any rush to get to the next point, which would be either finishing college or landing that big job. Just make sure that you're working on yourself. You're not going to be a great asset if you're not confident and physically and mentally well. For companies looking to hire veterans, I would say, if you give a veteran a chance and you really develop those hard skills, you're gonna have an absolute great leader. So it's definitely an asset to the team.
Well, again, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you more for paying it forward. And thank you all the viewers out there who are watching this. We truly appreciate you guys. And Nathaniel, it was just great having you, man. Really.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your service as well.